Bumpus's dog. Get off the lawn!
Okay.
Welcome, Picts, Romans, and Final Fantasy monsters, to the 212th episode of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 21st of June, 2017, and featuring The Eaters of Light, written by Rona Monroe, and starring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, and Matt Lucas as Nardole. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and I've been listening to just enough Iris Wild Time on Big Finish that nothing makes sense to me anymore this week. With me are Mad Matt Winchell.
I take offense to that Final Fantasy comment. Their monsters look much better than this.
Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Thanks to that comment, Bill. I'm never going to be able to look at this episode again without hearing Final Fantasy battle music.
Aaron Romeo Moon Burke.
Final Fantasy, that was a World of Warcraft fell beast.
And Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
I work with these people.
I don't know any of these people.
Kennedy
I think
will
they're
be
completely
joining
nuts.
us probably sometime during the news. He's not with us at the moment, but is on his way.
Yep.
All right. And of course, we're all excited and hyper tonight because it's exactly half a week from the beginning of the series finale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And all the episode goodness that we've been waiting for with Missy, the Master, and the Mondazian Cybermen are just 3 days away.
Yes.
Woo!
So, of course, we're here to talk about Doctor Who. Coming up tonight, of course, we've got our news. And there's quite a bit of news.
A fair amount.
Followed by general talk if we have time. And then, of course, our review of The Eaters of Light. So, why don't we go ahead and get started with birthdays. It was a big one day for birthdays on the 16th of June, where we had 3 birthdays from pretty much major characters in the Doctor Who universe, either basic or extended. So let's start off with Simon Williams. You might remember as Group Captain Chunky Gilmore from Remembrance of the Daleks, but has come to further fame in Big Finish's Countermeasure series. He turned 71. In addition to working with Big Finish, Simon made a few guest appearances on series such as Gallivant, The Rebel, Viceroy's House, EastEnders, and Silent Hours. He has a small role in the upcoming movie Goodbye Christopher Robin, which is about the life of a film. Happy birthday, Simon. Also that day is Carol Ann Ford, i.e. Susan. She turned 77. We haven't really seen much of Carol in the last year. In fact, we haven't seen much of her since 2013, when she had a slight cameo in the Five-ish Doctors reboot. So she's either been on stage or enjoying a quiet semi-retirement. Best of luck, Carol.
Can't wait to
And
hear
finally
next
that-
Big Finish.
What?
Can't wait to her next Big Finish appearance.
Yeah, she hasn't made one in a few years, though. So
She's about due for one, though.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
And the final birthday on the 16th is Michael Kilgariff, the voice of the, or actually I think both the voice and the actor of the Cyber Controller into Cybermen and Attack of the Cybermen.
Yes, both.
Turned 80. Michael does mostly commercial voiceover work, so we haven't seen anything of him recently that we can actually cite. The last thing we can recall him in is the voice of Lenegras the Blacksmith in the video game Dark Souls 2. So if you play that game and you talk to that character, remember, you're hearing the Cyber Controller.
Probably tells you why this game is so dangerous.
Played it. I think we have it, but I've never played it.
I want to try the Dark Souls just to see if they're any better than Demon Souls, because I hear they're not really connected and they might be slightly better.
Yeah, it might be Demon Souls we have. I can't remember. Anyway, then the next day we have the birthday of Arthur Darvill, i.e. Rory from series 5 through 7, who turned 35. Arthur apparently left Legends of Tomorrow at the end of the last season, but we don't think he's gone. No, sir, we'll see more of Rip Hunter yet.
Or we'll see him in, like, whatever the next MCU movie that its cast isn't announced yet.
Rip Hunter, is that a villain?
No,
No.
he is...
No, that's right. He's a time traveling
Arthur-
guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a time traveling hero from, like, the future.
Yeah, he can pop up
And,
anywhere.
And when Arthur Darvill started, he was really kind of getting his 10th Doctor action going, but he's since developed it into almost a cross between 9th, because he has that bit of bitterness to the character.
Yeah, he's going for that mysterious character with darkness you don't know type of thing going on.
You don't know my sorrows. You don't know my pain.
All right. So from birthdays, we go to lost stories. Aaron.
All right, so unfortunately, we have to announce the death of Brian Kent at the age of 83. He was known as the space security agent in the first episode of the Daleks' Master Plan in 1965. He also played Chairman Tensa in the Dominators in 1968.
So that's 2 doctors. Count it. First and second.
Yes,
Brian
he
Kent, you
also-
said? Because I didn't get a link that I noticed for him.
The
No.
The
link
link is there.
I
Brian
didn't see him.
Kent.
Brian
Brian
Kent.
C-A-N-T.
And from the picture on Doctor Who News, he looks like William Shatner's twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. A little bit.
No, it seems like he was involved with a lot of
there-
children's
yeah, okay,
stuff.
there he is. Yeah, I remember him. Actually,
he
yeah,
played-
he did some remarkable acting with that Dalek episode.
Mm-hmm.
As I recall. So yeah.
Yeah, he worked on the Romans in 1964. He also did the preschool kids TV show Play School. And then he also
And I would
did,
know
what
because
was
it confused me for a second, but since it specifies this is for a BBC Schools drama named The Romans, as compared to not the Doctor Who
yeah.
serial The Romans that
Oh,
aired in
yeah.
1965, which
I was
is what I
gonna
at
say.
first thought it said.
So it was probably a BBC Schools drama about the actual
The actual
Right.
Romans themselves, yes.
Yeah.
He was part of the cast.
educational. Yeah,
Well, that would have been a great crossover episode.
for the Romans with the Romans. Yeah.
He was also in Gordon Murray's puppet series. Was it Camberwick Green?
I see him posing here with a little stop motion thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
So it
and
could've
he'd
been
been
any one of
living
his
with
kids' shows.
Parkinson's for a while, so. Mhm.
Also looks like he might have done Blue Peter or something similar to it. Again, children's shows.
Probably. I mean, if you're a children's show actor, you're probably going to wind up on Blue at some point.
Yeah. If nothing else, at least I guess cameo once or twice.
God knows, most of the doctors have been on Blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very sorry to hear he has passed.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the father of Richard Kent. So
And Richard Kent appeared in Blank, yeah.
so that's cool. Moving on to our episode news.
Yeah, so
Bill?
we start off with our overnight figures for the Eaters of Light in the UK. Which had an audience of 2.89 million viewers, which was 22% of the total TV audience. Unfortunately, again, this is the lowest overnight rating the series has received in its history.
Even lower than the one that it was up against. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this one's even lower, and it has no excuse.
it doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
mentioning any reasons, so that's not good at all. Hopefully, with our 2 special guests next episode, we'll have some much better viewings.
I'm hoping.
I mean, ratings.
I also do
like
hope
I
that
said-
there's going to be more viewers that will actually hear afterwards, oh, this was actually a really good episode, let's watch.
And it
But
seems
we'll
to be
wait and see.
indicative that I think people are just getting tired of Moffat's writing and show
Yeah.
running stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready for a change.
They're ready for a change, and they'll only pop back in afterwards if they hear that there's a particularly good episode.
You're going to have trouble with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to talk about that, by the way, but
Moving on to the press reactions. The Radio Times says the script was beautifully written. And that it feels at one with half-remembered Celtic myths. Digital Spy agreed that the story had a strong sense of place and a formidable grasp on character. And specifically mentions things like the anachronism of using a bag of popcorn to frighten the natives, which was an interesting scene. And Bill's horror at the shockingly low age of Roman soldiers on the battlefront. The Telegraph praised director Charles Palmer's use of the sweeping Highland landscape and the script having fun with the Scottish theme, including the references to the weather and the sunlight. The Mirror said the story was filled with safe filler material because the Mirror hates Doctor Who.
Yeah, they'll just nitpick for no damn discernible reason. By the way, hi Vexy. Vexy's actually made it to
Hello.
our chat tonight.
Ars Technica mentioned that they felt that the story was a good introduction to the series.
I could kind of see that.
Other than that, they mainly give a summary, so they don't really elaborate on that, other than mentioning that it's a good introduction to the TARDIS's telepathic link. And translation, which I think is the first time it's been mentioned this season. It's happened, but it hasn't been talked about.
Mm-hmm. Has not been talked about recently, and it is something that Bill hasn't known about yet.
It's good to bring it back and hammer it in, just because I think it hasn't really been mentioned since the Russell T.
Just
And
about.
I'd have to go back and check. I remember the first few episodes, we commented on the fact that each episode seemed to be introducing a new, one more element of the Doctor Who mythos for new viewers, but without, throwing them all into a basket in the beginning. And this obviously is one more element. So I'm not sure, unless you count Recurring Monsters, if Empress of Mars did that, and I'm not sure if the Monks trilogy did that.
Cold War.
The Monks trilogy
Cold War
introduced.
brought it in. Cold
Say
War
again?
mentioned it.
Cold War mentioned
As
it.
far
Okay.
as like
What
the
happened?
whole speaking the speaking Russian bit. It's like you are speaking Russian.
Oh yeah, but Cold
that-
War
that
wasn't.
didn't-
That's what we were saying. Cold War was a few seasons ago.
Yeah, so it's been
but
it's
it
been
was
like 2 or
it
3
was after the
seasons.
Russell T era, though.
Right, but I mean, this
Yeah.
season they've been talking about it being, a soft reboot, and this is an example of that. And actually, the element that the Monks trilogy introduced to new viewers was regeneration.
Mm.
And they haven't
I
mentioned that in a long
I
while.
would think, considering what's going to be happening soon, I wouldn't have had to. That one.
You wouldn't
No, but
think so, but at the
it's-
same
it's-
time for new viewers.
It's good to have viewers prepared, so they're not like, oh, well, the Doctor's dying, so we're going to stop watching the show.
Oh wait, what the hell's happening? Boom.
So Games Radar felt that the story was confusing. Den of Geek felt it was missing something. So that's some mixed opinions there.
Mm.
Real Bits called it a solid, if not outstanding, historical adventure. Interesting, we have 2 quasi-historicals back-to-back, and this is the episode that, in a normal season, would have been written by Gaddis. And I think they made the right choice giving the previous one to Gaddis and this one to Monroe, because
he
played to his strong suits, and this would have been a little bit, I think, worse if he had written it.
No, I don't think they really gave either. These are the scripts that were handed to them by the writers, and they said, okay.
Then they retweet. Well,
Yeah, because
anyway.
because the indication of Gaddis last week wasn't that he signed the episode he wrote.
Yeah,
He was-
they just make the episode that they make, and this happened to be going to the.
Well, I
writer's
want to say,
particular
based on the
scripts.
interviews we had, he had to at least, say, can I write this episode? And they had to say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah. So that's
Moving
it.
on to our Aussie ratings. The Eaters of Light's debut in Australia in the 5 major capital cities averaged 396,000 viewers, making it the second highest rated ABC drama of the day and the 11th highest rated program of the day overall, which I think is fairly standard for this season.
Just about.
I think we had one season where it was always the highest on ABC, but still the 11th overall. So I don't know what ABC has introduced that's higher than it. I don't know if Thomas knows.
I would honestly not be able to
Gotcha.
be able to tell, to be honest.
Stepping back to the Lie of the Land's Australian numbers, with the addition of time-shifted viewers, which were 69,000 additional viewers, Lie of the Land averaged 497,000 consolidated viewers in the 5 major cities, making it the 4th highest time-shifted program of the day and the 10th highest rated program of the day overall. The highest time-shifted program had 164,000 extra viewers. Once again, iView and regional viewers are not included in that count.
Mm-hmm.
And our final bit on the Eaters of Light is that the Audience Appreciation Index score is actually, I think, the low ball for this season at an 81.
Yeah, I think this is like the second time this season hit that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it hit that once before
I can
the
recall
months.
it being, I can recall there being at least 181 or an 80 before.
Yeah, this season.
There hasn't been
I
many.
don't think there was an 8.
Not an 80, I don't think. No, that's a little bit low, but I remember there had to be at least
Nope.
an 81.
This is the first
No,
81.
there were a couple 82s, no 81s.
Really? I could
Yeah.
have sworn there was
Oh,
another
okay.
Stereo,
one.
82. The Pilot, 83. Smile, 83. Thin Ice, 84. Knock Knock, 83. Oxygen, 83. Extremis, 82. Pyramid, 82. Lie of the Land, 82. Empress of Mars, 83. Eaters of Light, 81.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn there was another one, but apparently
what-
not.
And since we're at this point of the season and we're also looking at the trends, I just want to run down the overnights at this point. We started with 5.64 with the Pilot, 4.25 million for Smile, 3.76 million for Thin Ice, hopped back up to a good 4.32 million for Knock Knock, possibly because of the guest star. If I understand, he was pretty popular.
Oh, yes.
3.57 million for Oxygen, 4.16 million for Extremis. Pyramid at the End of the World actually climbed above that with 4.79 million. So there might have been a lot of people eager to see what was up with that story, but then it dropped down to 3 million for The Lie of the Land. Empress of Mars had 3.58 million overnight, and Eaters of Light, again, being the lowest with 2.89 million. So generally a downward trend, although there definitely have been some spikes.
Speaking of Empress of Mars
and with the actual
ratings,
the actual official ratings, which we won't have for the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just going on Bill's trend, we started on the Christmas special with nearly 8 million. The series premiere had over 6.5, about 6.7, and that dropped to 6, 5.6, 5.75 for Knock Knock, then dropped to 5.25 for Oxygen, 5.5 for Extremis, went up to 5.75 for Pyramid, dropped down to under 5 for Lie, barely spiked over 5 for Emperor. So the last half of this series has basically had a huge ratings, and those are the finals.
But yeah, as we're mentioning, the official ratings for Empress of Mars.
Yes.
Tim?
The official rating of the Empress of Mars. It was rated 23rd most watched program of that week, with 5.02 million viewers, and that's a share of 25.9% of the total TV audience.
This is another record low, yeah.
Yeah.
That one kind of hurts. That was
Yeah,
another decent episode.
It did.
Like I
better
just
than the
said,
6 o'clock
mentioned in a
news,
hurry, it just barely bumps over 5. So
but worse than the BBC News. And of course, the number one show that week was Coronation Street.
that's not a surprise.
In fact,
5
Coronation
times.
Street held the top 5 spots.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of it that aired that week, and all took the top spots. And then you've got the Lock, which I don't know what that is, and then 2 EastEnders, something else, 2 Emmerdale, more EastEnders, Emmerdale, EastEnders. They basically fight it out for a while. And then the Antiques Roadshow comes in.
Listen, Doctor Who is sandwiched between 2 news programs.
Yeah, we're
Ouch.
getting outrated by the news. And Have I Got Election News for You, which I believe is a comedy show.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or it's one of those humorous panel shows. It's based on
That
Have I
too,
Got News
yeah.
for You. They did beat out the 6 o'clock news once though.
I've
Twice.
watched clips of
3 times.
Have I Got News for You on YouTube with Brian Blessed. Funny.
Yeah,
Anything with Brian Blessed is fun. Anywho.
yeah, but they spun off to Have I Got Election News with what's going on with the
Crazy stuff going on with elections around the world, yeah. So, yeah, next one.
all right, Tim.
Okay, so, and from that, we have future episodes, World Enough in Time, promotional photographs.
And the first one was the one they were really early on touting, and that's the promo with the Doctor in a stance, and behind him you get Missy and the Master,
Mm.
and you get to see the Master now sporting a rubbish beard.
He's wearing a silly beard. It is typical of a master to eventually do that.
It's like a mirror universe goatee.
Well, no,
about.
the Master
Somebody's Okay.
usually has a beard. If you think about Delgado and Amy, both had the beard going.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And if you remember Time Crash, Peter Davidson asked David Tennant, after Tennant mentions the Master just came back, and his response was, "Oh, please don't tell me he's still sporting that rubbish beard."
And then they made a gay joke.
Yes.
Now, is this blue guy supposed to be the same race as the person from Oxygen?
I was trying to figure that out. I was trying to figure out if it
Hard to
was
tell.
that, or if it's one of the technicians that we saw on Platform 5.
I'm leaning towards the technicians because I don't think they wore contacts, and I think the other blue guy this season did.
Mm.
I would have to go back and take a look at.
I'd have to
Or
double check
maybe
too.
he's a human being who's just a really big fan of the Blue Man Group.
See, I went to Yondu, so I don't know.
No,
Obviously,
you have to have a
there's
mohawk.
there's a lot of differences. So, but
You'd have to have a mohawk, so no, that doesn't quite work.
but the mohawk was tech in the movie version.
Yes, but the mohawk exists in every version.
So what's this, Bill? You thought he was Mary Poppins, Joe?
Sure, if Mary Poppins wore a jumpsuit.
Just bringing up a picture of that dude from the guy from Oxygen.
Okay.
He has like almost cat-like
Yeah.
like eyes and
Gotcha.
shit. So yeah, I'd say it's
So
different.
it, so
It's
if it is
slightly
the same
different.
species, it's a continuity mistake.
Or
That
it's,
Or the race
or
just
it's-
has weird different eyes, depending upon...
or if it's
Way
a
to
race
look.
we've seen before at all, I would think it would be one of the one of the guys from the maintenance techs from Platform 5 where they came.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because I'm pretty sure they had more or less normal eyes.
I would
Also, the
love-
other guy didn't have eyebrows, I think, at all, and this dude does. So that's another difference.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
believe the technicians had eyebrows, too.
Forgive my lack of memory. Who was the guy who got his head chopped off and kept in the box?
Oh, the
Oh,
one priest guy. Or actually, not even a
I
priest, more
forget
of a
his
thug.
name. Yeah.
Or a thief guy, the rogue guy. I can't remember his name, yeah.
He was blue too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There seems
Yeah,
to be a
there's
trend here.
apparently blue is a very common skin color in New Who.
In Deep Space people, yes. There just seems to be random races of blue people.
Yeah.
I'm blue, baba doo, baba dee, baba da.
It's like, yeah, so we're just going to make him blue. Didn't we already do that? Maybe.
But we have so much of this blue
I mean,
skin
yeah,
color.
like-
Okay, so his name was Dorian Maldivar, And he does have the same color eyes and eyebrows and such as the guy in the new episode. So he may be a matching species with that. But we didn't really know anything about his background, I don't think.
Yeah, we only knew that he was on the one bizarre planet, the one that had the huge marketplace.
But yeah, it does look like he has the same gray eyes, the same, kind of faint grayish eyebrows.
Ruffalo from the platform above Earth, has kind of a silvery tinge to her. They've got like silvery scales, the overseers, for the end of the world. And the overseer himself has kind of a
The overseer, was a
those
species.
they're from Crispalian.
Yeah.
Crispalian, yeah.
Of course, at the same time, if they're just different race, same skin color, I mean, we've had ones in previous seasons that were just the old school human with a bit of face paint, so...
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell at this point.
By the way, the Master has the old Sonic.
The laser, yeah.
Yep, the Sonic laser.
The laser screwdriver.
Anyone notice? I don't know if you mentioned this before.
Not Sonic, it's laser.
Right. He seems to be dressed a lot more in a traditional Master style in addition to the facial hair.
Actually, I was going to bring that up when we got to that picture.
Well, you've been kind of lingering forever on the blue guy, and I'm just like, I'm already bored now, moving along.
Okay, well, yeah, and you've gone to the end of the pictures.
Yes, because that's how long you took.
Anyway, the Master's outfit is a bit like that, but it's also very close to the Master's outfit from Curse of Fatal Death.
Kinda.
Okay.
Only without the Dalek bumps.
Right.
Longer coat, though. And in line with red more. Actually, it looks like almost like a tent version of the Master.
So, going back up, we're talking on this. You see several pictures here of the Cybermen of the various factions. You see quite a few pictures of the Mondasian Cybermen marching. And then you get down and you see basically the Iron Man grade, Nightmare and Silver Cybermen.
Which still look badass.
Complete with the glowing chest piece.
Yep.
And then next to him, you have the older, what looks like the Cybusmen design, but they don't have the Cybus logo.
Right. So the updates that got it over to our
These are the Good Man Goes
universe.
to War Cybermen. Basically.
Yeah. These are these are the ones that upgraded in universe instead of the ones from the next one over.
Yeah.
Or from when we were wondering if they may have merged and joined forces.
Which is also a possibility, but not as quite as likely.
Yep. So going down, let's go to the bottom left-hand picture of the
Still no 80s Cybermen though.
The new,
I'm disappointed.
I really want that.
That's the scene they cut and put back in was 80s Cybermen.
So you can take a look now at a very good close-up look of the Mondasian Cybermen in this picture. And in fact, I have taken another picture and I've compared it side by side with the Cybermen. Matt, if you could pop that up.
Yep. Zoomed in, although I think your quality is slightly smaller.
I had to keep resizing to get the pictures the right scale.
I would have sized up the old one, but okay.
I wasn't sure I could do that without it graining out.
It's
you
already
gotta
grainy.
remember this was a 67, 1966.
Yeah, it was grainy in the first place.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to get less grainy.
Anyway, so what you can see is they actually have done a fairly detailed job of converting the top part of the chest unit almost exactly to the new one. It is higher up on the person.
It is higher up. It doesn't look like they need to hold on to it.
Probably so it's easier to walk with.
It seems to be slightly narrower.
It's almost like a step between 10th Planet and Moonbase almost.
Just about. Also, I see the filter's a little bit finer too.
Oh yeah, the light on top or whatever it is smaller.
It's smaller, yes.
Yes, it is. The light on their head and the handlebars are slightly smaller.
The bottom of it has completely changed.
The old leg stripes are gone.
No, the bottom of the
bottom thing, yeah, it's gone from like a light to almost like a small record player.
Well, it always was supposed to be something like a fan or something down there. That was supposed to be a fan down there, and I think that's somewhere there. But the sides of it have changed completely.
Yeah, and the side panels from that looks like a keyboard and something else.
Whereas the old one was just this empty space where they
just empty handles where they help lift the chest piece up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely changed. I think have slightly. They look less moon booty.
They still have the leg straps. The leg stripes though have gone. They still have the like almost halfway to knee boots.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The fabric is a little less wrinkled, so the suit doesn't look as much like aluminum foil.
Yeah. Well, that's because they've got updated materials to work with, so it looks a little more streamlined.
I was expecting it to look like a more modern version, but they've done fairly faithful other than that.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I think they've really done. The biggest thing that they made sure to do with this is they made the suit as close to the original as possible, but also making it far less clunky and more serviceable for suit actors to actually work with. Because, let's face facts, trying to do that 10th Planet episode must have been a hell.
Yeah, with this reintroduction, I really want to see reintroduction of other era Cybermen, including the Invasion era.
The Invasion era ones would be very nice.
The Invasion era and the 80s Cybermen.
A real Cyber Planner would be wonderful. As compared to,
at least bring back the old the leaders and the planners, just so we can have their voices at the very least.
Like Mr. Clever was all right as a one-time gimmick, but I want a real Cyber Planner.
Yeah, bring back the voices of the original Cyber Planner and Cyber Leader, and we'll have a good show.
All right, let's move on here.
Excellent.
So we have heard rumors of what Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss will be up to after they're done here, aka Tweet. After, of course, having worked on Sherlock, they're going to be doing their own take on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Take that how you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people giving what they interpret of it already, just based on Sherlock.
This is coming up from Variety.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Gatiss is currently filming for a miniseries Gunpowder, so he doesn't have time to do the actual production startup. So this is kind of rumored.
To forehead.
As we have heard, the future of Sherlock is kind of in doubt whether they're going to make any more or not after the done this year.
You are cutting out a lot right now, Randy.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I would adjust it and get a little bit closer to the microphone. Maybe it'll cut out less.
But like I said, this is basically rumored at this. Sherlock is planning to. We don't think they're going to be making any more. So, if they're switching to Dracula, that probably means for sure they're not making. According to the report, they've written scripts already, but there's no actual green light on production yet.
So actually, is this supposed to be a TV show then?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, because there's no green light.
They're probably going to try, if they do get greenlit, my guess would be that it would probably be something similar to the way Sherlock was done.
Yeah, I mean, they are referring to it as a series, but I would not be shocked if it's something like Sherlock, where it's like, kind of basically TV movies.
Yeah, it's also possible too.
They also mentioned whether it's unknown in terms of at least what's been told to the public as to whether or not it fits into Universal's Dark Universe, which does have a Dracula cast already.
Does have a cast, but they're not doing anything
I
yet.
doubt it. The fact that they're basing this off of Bram Stoker's Dracula,
which means that
they're
not going to be updated.
Right?
So.
Yeah, I agree. I doubt it as well. I think it's more likely to be the Gotham or the Arrow compared to Universal's DCEU.
Yeah.
Okay.
One reason this I kind of scratched my head when I saw this was Gaddis recently starred in an audio drama as Dracula.
Oh, that's right.
So, and I mean, and that was a direct adaptation of Bram Stoker. So I'm kind of wondering now if that's where they got the idea, and if they're planning for Gaddis to be the star,
or maybe the
I'm
narrator.
hoping not.
I would prefer
I
him to
don't
be
like
the
it
narrator.
when
I don't know if
somebody
he could
is
star
writing
as
it.
Dracula.
I don't like it when somebody's
So-
writing it and starring in it at the same time.
Yeah.
Seems to indicate ego.
Ego, also a bit of nepotism.
So how did you feel about Gaddis being Mycroft?
I don't watch Sherlock.
I
Gotcha.
thought he did a good Mycroft. He was okay.
The last Mycroft.
I
I'm
guess the
not
other
saying
thing
in
is
terms
he
of how
also
good he was.
wasn't
I'm saying
there.
in terms of the question of if it reeks of ego and such.
The last
of
Mycroft
course
I
it
saw
does.
was Stephen Fry. So
Ah.
Mark Gaddis is always going to reek of ego. Have you seen his role in Game of Thrones as one of the bankers, the world bankers?
To be fair, the bankers are supposed to reek of ego.
So
Yeah.
he's probably playing to his
I'm
points.
not- I'm not talking
so
about
is
acting.
Mycroft. Mycroft is
Yeah,
supposed to be a bit
but I'm-
egotistical
But
too.
still, like I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm talking about the role itself. I'm talking about how Rand said writing in it and starring in it coming across a certain way. If you felt the same way about a supporting character.
the only one I never had issues with doing that was Leonard Nimoy.
That's because Leonard Nimoy could do it, and we knew he
Yeah.
could do it.
William Shatner, on the other hand, couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Claim it because it's there.
Okay, so let's move on.
Okay, so let's see here.
Ooh.
Ah, I think I got
Delia.
my stuff mixed up.
Delia article, Heron.
No, because I opened up all of the stuff that was apparently sent to someone else.
Yeah, that's because
That's-
Bill inserted the Dracula one and everything got moved.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, no one told me that, and so I had all the wrong tabs open. So here, let me get to the stuff that I'm supposed to look at. Alright, so Delia Derbyshire has been honored with the blue plaque. Which, whatever that is.
And we
She,
mentioned it, we
she's
mentioned
the
it a few
one
years
who-
back when Douglas Adams got one. It's an honor
Okay.
plaque.
Yeah,
It's
it's
basically like
she
a
is the
historical
person who realized the original Doctor Who theme music. She's also the mark of respect is one of 47 blue plaques unveiled as part of BBC Music Day. That's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah,
people in places
like I
of-
said, we made a
It's
big
okay.
deal about this when Douglas Adams got one a few years back.
Yes, and Douglas
Yes.
Adams is a huge landmark on comedy sci-fi, and Delia
Yep.
Derbyshire's work as a musician for Doctor Who, that changed
Mhm.
the face of music for sci-fi forever, pretty much too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they honored singers, musicians, songwriters, producers, and broadcasters.
on this day.
especially.
They
the
also
blue plaque-
This
commemorated.
recent round.
Yeah,
They also commemorated John Peel, David Bowie, and several others apparently.
I'm not
Those are
surprised
ones
they
that they
Oh, and
commemorated
the
David Bowie.
Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, ABBA.
Yep.
Yeah, the include Brighton venue where the ABBA won the Eurovision song contest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're kind of like historical markers. If you've ever driven around the United States here and you see big historical marker billboards at like waysides and stuff,
And statues or little
where
commemorative
you
plaques and
commemorate
so
like
on.
one battle or another or some major event. These are what the blue plaques are. Only they're a little smaller because they're like in towns and stuff, and they're usually on buildings and stuff that was significant to that person. So.
The plaque was honoring Delia Derbyshire was unveiled by the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah, who you
And
can
his
see
companion.
lurking.
Yeah,
in
and
the-
Nicola Bryant in front of him. I was looking for where they put it. I don't see it.
Apparently at 104 Cedars Avenue. Of course, that just
Oh.
might be where the Sixth Doctor is.
To officially perform the ceremony. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what Cedars Avenue is. If anyone from Britain can tell us what importance that is, that'd be great. But otherwise, yeah, the Sixth Doctor and his companion pulled it out, and that's nice of them to do.
Okay. Aaron, would you like to go to the next article?
All right. So the Queen has honored a few Doctor Who actors recently.
No one major, but a few.
Yeah. We've got June Whitfield. Was made Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire. She's a veteran actress and comedian. She played Minnie Hooper. She was a member of the active
Minnie
member
the
of the
Menace.
Silver Cloak.
Minnie the Menace. The one who got the Goose Tennant.
In the 2010 Doctor Who story, The End of Time. Let me see here. And then we've also got Sarah Lancashire. She was made Officer of the Order of the British Empire, or OBE. And she was in Partners in Crime, where she played Miss Foster.
That was the Series 4 premiere.
Adiposian First Family. So, yeah. She's basically the nanny.
Yes, the one that made the fat aliens thing.
Yeah.
Those adorable little pudgy things. They look like
Then we've
marshmallows.
got David Williams, who was made Officer of the Order of the British Empire. He was in the God Complex playing Gibbs.
Gibbous,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know too much about that character. I don't remember it, but
I don't remember God Complex.
I think it might have been one of the ones I repressed.
Wait, wasn't the God Complex one? Wasn't that the one with the Nyman? The cousin of the Nyman?
The one, I don't think they I think it was similar to a Nyman, but they never actually officially made it one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that the Hotel from Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a Series 6B that didn't involve River, so it's one of those that kind of always...
That gets shunned because it didn't completely cause rage, but it also wasn't great either.
And he played the Weasley character who was trying to save himself by sacrificing everybody else.
Of course.
All right. And then actress Gugu Mbatha Raw was made member of the Order of the British Empire, or MBE. So, and she played Tish Jones, who is the sister of Martha Jones in Series 3 of Doctor Who.
So that was a reoccurring character, but not a major one.
Yeah, she didn't last longer than that season. But she came back a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, I don't think she even appeared when Martha's mom appeared in Series 4.
Nope.
No.
And of course, this is presented by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth in recommendation of the British Prime Minister Theresa May.
Yeah, let's not bring up her anymore.
So that moves us on to the Essential Doctor Who, which has a new book, issue, whatever you want to consider it. The Essential Doctor Who is basically a spin-off that came about from the creators of Doctor Who magazine, although it is considered a separate entity. Started when their 50-year special in 2013 was surprisingly popular in a bookazine format.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out whether this would go under books or magazines, and I could.
Right.
I just decided it was a book because it's a one-off.
Split the difference.
Gotcha. And Doctor Who News considers it a magazine and not a book, according to their tags. But this one is called Adventures in Space, Doctor Who's Greatest Missions to the Unknown. It features interviews with Bob Baker, co-writer of The Three Doctors, Nick Bullen, costume designer for the Space Pirates, Jamie Matheson, who wrote Oxygen earlier this season, Pat Mills, co-writer of The Song of the Space Whale, Haley Neubauer, costume designer for this season, Series 10, Louise Page, costume designer for the RTD era, Charles Palmer, who directed Oxygen, and Sid Sutton, who designed Doctor Who title sequence. It doesn't say which seasons.
So essentially it's like a top 10 pick, and they talk to some people who might know about the episodes they're going to talk
It's
about.
basically a lot of interviews with
And
behind
then
the scenes stuff.
it's behind the scenes talk, but also mentioning like a top list of certain topics for people to get a feel for this series.
It definitely looks like Oxygen is the episode they devote the most time to, but they also mention including time for episodes such as the Daleks' Master Plan, Ark in Space, and others.
The Space Pirates, which is just as the old.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bob Baker in there, and he's huge. I mean, he's one of the guys behind K9.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the Three Doctors.
No, I mean he is one of the co-creators of K9.
Co-writer of Three Doctors, but yeah, he's one of the creators of K9.
That's
So that
pretty
means
much his claim to fame right now.
Yeah, so he's had influence from the Third Doctor on to the Fourth Doctor.
All right,
it's a nice mix of old Who and new Who.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, they also mention a look at the groundbreaking model work for Trial of a Time Lord, which I believe we talked about a little bit when we reviewed that season.
Yeah.
The model work was actually really good on that. That was probably the best part.
Sid Sutton, by the way, did pretty much all of the Doctor Who title sequences in the early to mid '80s.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the Howl sound title sequence.
Gotcha.
So you essentially
Tom Baker,
Fifth Doctor on.
for
Yeah.
Fifth Doctor and for Sixth Doctor.
One season.
And then he was replaced when they in 1987 when they went to Sylvester McCoy.
Okay, so he did Trial of a Time Lord also?
So yeah, he did up to
because that was
Trial.
basically the same title sequence with just a tint on it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do the theme; he did the sequence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's the graphic designer, not audio.
Right. All right, continuing on with our book news, there's been an announcement and cover release for a special edition Hargreaves Doctor book called Doctor 10th Christmas Surprise. Because I guess the 10th Doctor didn't have enough Christmas specials.
Well, the whole Doctor...
Does nobody die this time?
The whole Dr. Men style has apparently just taken off. When they did
started
that...
as an internet meme and just...
They decided to do it, and then it just keeps going.
And it's making them all the money. So now the 10th Doctor, Mr. Men version gets his own special book.
Yep. And it looks like this will be a Christmas special alongside Donna.
Aww.
So I'm curious what Donna is going to look like in that format if they're going to release pictures.
And I'd like to see
17th of October.
Angry and Ginger.
Yep.
That's all you need.
All that Dr. 10th is wearing is a collar and a tie and some Converse.
Yeah, that's
all you need.
basically the Mr. Men style. So
Yeah, they never really have much detail in clothing. Just the basics. Next.
All right, on to magazine news.
A new category, by the way.
Yep. The magazine Doctor Who Adventures is going to, and this is the word they use, pause publication after the next edition is released on June 22nd, 2017.
Tomorrow.
Yep. That's what Panny sent an email to subscribers to the magazine saying they're pausing publication and there's no indication as when it will unpause. Doctor Who Adventures began as a fortnightly magazine in 2016 during the first wave of Doctor Who popularity for the revived show. And it was,
Did you say 2016 or 2006?
2006, sorry.
Yeah, he was supposed to say 2006.
I'm sorry.
It's alright, keep going.
It was originally published by BBC Worldwide, but in 2015, it moved to Panny, the publishers of Doctor Who magazine. It has suffered a fall in circulation in recent years. From a high of 56,000 in 2010, it fell to 10,364 in the last audited period, covering the second half of 2016. Contrasting, Doctor Who magazine had an audited circulation of 22,523.
Yeah, and that's indication of kind of where the fandom has gone recently, too. I mean, if you're taking a look at the ratings dive and stuff, it really seems to be indicating that Doctor Who needs to change.
Doctor Who needs a life tap here. It needs to do something to bring some violization back big time.
Okay. So from that, we're going to move on to our Big Finish news, because we've got a bit of news. The first one is that just released is the Companion Chronicles First Doctor Volume 2. We've talked about this one for a bit. It's out now.
Yay.
Very nicely drawn Dalek there. Not that Daleks are hard to draw.
And apparently they changed the word order on the jewel case so that Big Finish collectors that collect the actual disc and not the digital version now have some fucked up looking shelves. I think the other one was like Volume 1, the First Doctor, and this one is the other way around. So
well, they've gotten more and more of these people. Yeah. They've gotten more and more of these kind of, you know, they're more and more of these volumes, and they're realizing that they're going to be making more than one, so they now have to deal with that. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with, you know, replacement covers for the old stuff, but anyway, the episodes in this are Fields of Terror by John Pritchard, Across the Darkened City by David Bartlett, The Bonfires of the Vanities by Una McCormack, and The Plague of Dreams by Guy Adams. It is on sale right now for £20 and $15 for CD and download, but only till the end of July. And you can actually get part 1 of The Bonfires of the Vanities with a code if you sign up to the Big Finish newsletter.
Oh, I probably have that code in my email then.
Probably. And then in upcoming release news, we have learned that the Fourth Doctor Adventure Series 7 is complete. Recording has been finished on The Bad Penny, which is a wrap on Series 7, which is Tom Baker and Louise Jameson. This series is planned to release in January 2018.
Oh my. Can I say
Bad
that
Penny...
Tom Baker looks a bit thin?
What, in that picture?
Yeah. Looks like he's
Yes,
slimmed
he
down
does.
since his last appearance.
Oh, yeah, it looks like he has. I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That does make me slightly nervous.
Mm-hmm. The Bad Penny, by the way, is written by Dan Starkey.
Oh,
and
cool.
is the final story.
Dan
And
Starkey.
stars
I know that
Tom
name.
Baker.
Strax.
Strax. Okay.
And that stars Tom Baker, Louise Jameson, Dan Starkey, and Kevin Barron.
Keith Barron.
Enlightenment. Or Keith Barron, sorry. And
It's a
so
damn
that's
late.
just...
Go ahead.
And like I said, that's due out in January. There is no listing yet of how much it's going to cost. The big news out of Big Finish this week, and I think this came out on Friday, 2 days after our last podcast, is that they have announced the War Master for the Time War series of Big Finish, and it is Derek Jacobi, a.k.a. the Master we saw exactly about 5 minutes of in Utopia.
And everybody wanted more.
And have seen him before in Scream of the Shelka as the Master.
Mm-hmm.
So we know this guy. We love this guy. We've wanted more of this guy, and now we're getting it.
The only thing that
Finish said
slightly
yes.
dims me to this is that it wasn't recorded a year ago before we lost a certain other actor.
Yes,
Depends
that
on
would have
when they're
been
using him.
magic. That would have been magic to get the both of them. God damn it, they should have done this sooner.
I bet they're kicking themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Nobody-
blame them. They were probably they might have been trying, so I don't blame them.
I don't
for
know
it,
if they were expecting John Hurt to die.
Yeah, I don't think so
Don't think
either. Maybe they
anybody
were
was.
planning to do that this year with John Hurt, and now John Hurt's gone.
Either way, announced with this was info on Gallifrey, Time War, which is Louise Jameson. That's old stuff, isn't it? No, that's due out in February 2018. So
Right.
that's going to be pre-ordered.
And it doesn't include Drew. Where is Drew?
So that's US $20, $29 for CD. And that's Louise Jameson and Lala Ward.
Ooh.
And then Tales of New Earth, which is due out in March, is Edgua Ando, Yasmin Bannerman, and Anna Hope for the same price.
One of them played Novice Haim in the episode New Earth.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, so Tales of New Earth. Okay.
So that might have something to do with that character then.
Yep. Well, Tales of New Earth does sound like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is the. Why did you post those right under the War Master stuff, by the way?
Because they're mentioned, like their actual announcement was at the bottom of the War Master article, but it doesn't actually I don't think it actually includes a link. So that's
those are
what we know
those
about
are subs. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know much about them yet, but they're officially announced, and that's what we do know.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's pretty much all we have for Big Finish and news at the moment, and we've got a few minutes if anybody has anything else special to talk about.
It's been something like 0 days since
Wonder
DC
Woman
did
the
something
other day.
stupid.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Okay.
What was that?
I saw Wonder Woman the other
okay.
night.
How'd you think?
It not the funny thing is that of course there wasn't big standards to begin with, but this blows everything that is in the current DC EU out of the water. Like, this is like the movie they should have started the DC EU with.
Technically they should have. This is technically Captain America. They should have started here.
Yeah, the thing is, there would have been even more accusations of it being a Captain America ripoff.
Well, technically, the MCU was started with Iron Man. So.
True.
It's called I Don't Care. Get it started the right way.
Do you want to be the first or the worst?
The one thing that did bother me is the decided there's so much sword play, not one drop of blood on those swords.
Yes,
that bothers me so much.
Especially the beach scene. It kind of took me out of the movie for a couple minutes because
so bloodless.
It was
like there's moments of blood, but it's more so people having cuts. Mm-hmm. And even then, it's not much.
There's a fight of swords versus machine guns, and there's no blood on the sand.
Yeah, there's like.
Well, when she stabs the German leader through the ceiling, I'm just like, why isn't there copious amounts of blood?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't have to be buckets, but at least give me something. This reminds me of like the first Narnia movie.
Yeah, this is supposed to be like an epic win. You're supposed to have at least a little bit of a Conan splatter here.
I was half expecting this to be like the first Narnia movie where he stabs the wolf and then Aslan tells him to wipe the sword clean. But the sword's clean. There's no blood on the sword, and yet he's told
it's actually PG-13, so you'd think they would have been able to get away with just a little bit of blood.
Yeah, just a little
bit. Again, it doesn't have to be like a horror movie where there's like just coated in this stuff.
No, although I would love for them to release an unrated director's cut
and all the blood everywhere.
Yeah, like the funny thing is this movie, I liked it so much that I ended up writing out my thoughts rather than a lengthy Facebook post. I actually wrote like a write-up,
an actual article for it. Okay.
Yeah. And one thing I mentioned was like the lack of blood. Seems like, is there no blood in the torsos of these people?
Have they all been licked clean by a vampire before they were sent into war?
The only blood I ever remember seeing is a cut that Wonder Woman herself gets, and that's like it. It's like Batman vs Superman. Trailers for that had people with blood on their face, and then the actual movie doesn't.
It's set before they removed the comic code. Of course, I can't really actually no. Never mind, because there's so many things in violation of the code there that I can't even use that joke because.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Wonder Woman, you know her backstory violates the comics code, so
Yes.
you can't even say that.
Yup. Yeah, she was Golden Age. That was well before the comic code. I don't think that hit until
Well, no, I
Silver Age.
get that, and that would be a criticism of the joke. I'm just saying the
That's
other
the
things
joke.
make it so I can't even use that joke.
Yeah, like a few.
I'm
a
sorry,
few
my
iffy
brain went
bits aside.
sideways to trying to make the unrated version of that movie. Because you do that, you'd add all the blood, and then you get people complain that all the Amazons didn't run around naked, because that would be an unrated to them.
You know, there actually was a scene, and I don't know if somebody was wearing, like, if someone was just, like, wearing, like, flesh-colored underpants, but I swear, like, the first Amazon we swear, I could have sworn flashed her crotch at the camera, like, in half, like, it was like a tenth of a second, but if it's rated PG-13, that probably didn't happen, and I just thought that's what I saw.
You're seeing things, Bill.
Like she did a cartwheel off of a horse or something, and I wasn't like staring, but I'm like I didn't think I saw anything like under her
Bill
armor.
is suffering the male gaze.
Yeah.
No, it's just that she happened to be upside down when the camera was doing an aerial shot. But I don't know if she was just wearing like flesh-toned pants or what.
Probably, considering how much DC is censoring this stuff.
Yeah.
She was
'Cause,
probably supposed to be not wearing anything.
Right, and that's the thing. Like in the setting, that's what I would have thought, and I was surprised that the other Amazons seemed to be wearing pants or whatever here and there.
Ooh, I like the. I assume this is Japanese or Chinese poster. That's actually a
For
really
Wonder
nice
Woman?
looking poster. Yeah, I'm gonna share that really quick.
Let's see.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. Aside from that, I didn't really have all that many issues with it. Again, honestly, like during one pretty massive sort of like not so much massive, but generally during one set piece, I was so at peace with what was going on and just the fact that oh my god, they actually are doing this right. That I almost was brought to tears of joy.
Okay,
It was weird.
So, Thomas, my main issue with the movie was Chris Pine. What did you think of Chris Pine's feature?
Yeah, the funny thing is, going in knowing what you'd said, there was probably stuff that I think I just have to know that time period more to have been able to criticize. Chris Pine, I thought, did fine. Like, he didn't blow me away, but at the same time, I wasn't iffy on him necessarily either. Like, he did fine.
Well, have you seen the Star Trek movie starring him?
Yes, I have seen all three of the new
So
Star
in
Trek
relation
movies.
to that, do you agree with what we were saying, how it basically is Captain Newkirk in World War One?
Kind of? I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch them again.
Because
But, yeah.
I went through the whole movie basically going, what would Kirk do in this situation? He'd do this, and then immediately Steve Trevor would do that. So it's like, I'm like, yeah, he's fucking Kirk. I'm watching scenes going, damn it, Jim!
Still, the foreign poster's nice. That's actually really nicely done. I believe that's hand drawn.
That looks... Actually, I can't tell. I think that might be Chinese.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it might be Chinese is more likely, but I can't tell for sure because I don't read.
I don't recognize some of the kanji.
Well, and the thing is, a lot of Japanese kanji are from Chinese. So unless you
yes,
actually
I know,
saw
kinda
other
share.
characters,
there are some
same.
Chinese kanji that never made it to Japan.
Some, but they do share a little bit of a likeness
Right.
still. I actually, I think with the bigger text, maybe that is Chinese.
Yeah, that's those text pieces are the ones I don't recognize. I recognize some of the symbology. I recognize wonder, but I don't recognize either of the symbols for woman. I recognize some of the markings, but I don't recognize them in that pattern.
Yeah.
Not that I am by any means an expert on kanji.
Yeah, not that any of us are experts, but yeah, there's some leniency towards. Maybe this is not Japanese, so it's most likely Chinese.
I feel like we would see some katakana names like Chris Pine written out in katakana and things like that if this were the Japanese poster.
True, Japanese do tend to just diarrhea text at sometimes.
Well,
on their
I mean,
posters.
just the name of the stars. Gal Gadot, Chris
when
Pine.
Japanese do American names, they do them in katakana, not in kanji.
Yeah.
That is traditional for them.
So that would basically mean one letter per syllable, which these aren't. Although Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are short names, so it's a bad example for someone who's not familiar with those symbols.
It would be Kurisu.
Yeah, Kurisu Painu.
Yeah.
Or Pain.
Painu. It would be Painu.
Yeah.
The sort of last little thing I mentioned that this poster reminded me of is I kind of wish she didn't have such a mini skirt looking skirt. But that's just me.
I mean,
because that's what it looked like.
I feel like
You
that's
haven't seen the
authentic enough
70s
to
costume,
Ancient Greek.
dude.
Yeah, that didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, you haven't seen the
and
70s
Like,
costume, my dude.
it didn't.
Oof.
They never really they
Now-
kind of made a joke about it in the movie about that's not appropriate for this time period.
Right now,
But,
Fox News' complaint that it wasn't, patriotic American enough was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it's freaking Fox News.
Right? It's like there's no stars and stripes on this ancient Greek warrior's costume that never goes to America.
The fact
Here's a
that
middle
one
finger
woman
you could spin
wore
with.
blue. I'm not even going to call them shorts. Blue bloomers with white stars. I always thought was ridiculous considering her origin.
Yeah. Kinda. But the eagle, I'll go with that, yeah.
Yeah, the eagle can be a hawk or an eagle or something
Right.
like that. From
The eagle is multicultural. It's like, yes, Americans, have our eagle, but many other cultures also use the eagle in different ways.
And different eagles for that matter too. So that could have been
Yeah.
any particular bird, and since we do have an eagle, it does
Hell,
kind
from
of
what
resemble an
From
eagle.
what I hear, Thomas's continent has much bigger eagles than ours does.
I wouldn't be surprised. They could
Well,
probably carry away small children.
everything on Thomas's continent is bigger and will kill you.
They probably attack adults.
I'm sorry, everything there is lethal.
And the zombies are kangaroos.
Everything is poisonous or will eat you. This is what I've learned about Australia.
Or just drop bears and we'll mess your day up anyway.
All right, but
All right, moving
should
on
probably- yeah, we
to
should
the
move on.
5-minute
Yeah.
challenge.
any volunteers?
I did it last week, so I'm off the hook.
He did it last week, and I think I did it the week before. So it's down to Bill, Tim, and gosh, why do I keep forgetting your name?
Aaron.
Not Aaron.
Not Aaron. Gosh, Thomas. It's Tom
If
and
you
Thomas.
forgot
That's
Aaron's
why.
Name, I would have to go up. I would have to drive up there to kick your ass.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Thomas, and it's just like I'm not used to another Tom. Tim and Tom. Okay. Yeah, it's Tim, Tom, or Bill. It's apparently Aaron makes Randy fidget.
Aaron is just banned.
Aaron's
Didn't she do it
Aaron's banned by
I also happen
regiment
to
of Randy.
know that she's kind of ho-hum on this episode, so I don't want to have her describe it.
That's also true. Well, she's kind of
Spoilers.
But anyway,
I'm not giving any specifics. I just kind of remember her saying that to somebody earlier. So
Yeah.
well,
I
you've
don't
been
wanna,
also
I
really
don't wanna
busy
have
this
her-
week, Aaron. So you're kind of ho hum about a lot of things.
And I really don't want to go to work tomorrow because I just realized I have a special order that has to be due, and I have no mid-shift to help me out tomorrow either.
Sweet baby Jesus. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
it's even
Yeah.
worse for you tomorrow. Anyways, Tim,
Okay.
Tom, and Bill.
I doubt I would remember enough to actually be able to summarize
So
it. So
Tom-
I'm
Okay,
out.
Tim or Bill?
So Tom's dropping up. Tim or Bill?
I can try.
All
Okay.
right, Tim.
We have a volunteer.
Tim steps forward. All right.
Yay.
Ready whenever you are, Tim. Just let me know.
Okay. I believe I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
So the two kids are in the hills in Scotland, and the kid says, "Hey, they're monsters, or they could have come from hell." And the girl says, oh, there's music. Oh, yeah. And then it cuts to another scene with the Doctor and Bill and Nardole arriving in Scotland in the TARDIS in Aberdeen, as they call it in the 2nd century. And they're arguing about what happened to the Ninth Legion. And Bill's like, I know more about Roman than you do. And the Doctor says, oh, yeah, well, I was a Vestal Virgin. Yeah. And so it's like, the Ninth Legion disappeared. No, they didn't. They were destroyed in the battle. Yeah, well, where's the bodies? Where's the Ninth Legion? I'm going to go that way. To find the Ninth Legion. Oh, yeah, well, me and Nardo are going to go that way to find the Ninth Legion. And they split up. Which is always a good idea. Yeah. And Bill comes across a girl in Pictish makeup, a Scottish native, who is performing a memorial for the dearly departed, but then she sees Bill and kisses her with a sword. Meanwhile, while the Doctor and Nardo are wandering around, wondering what happened to the Ninth Legion, and they come across a body that was killed by the lack of sunlight. And then they find other bodies and say, well, here's what happened to the Ninth Legion. They all were unsunlighted to death. And they run across the Picts, and they're all kids. And at the same time, Bill runs into a soldier from the Ninth Legion who says that the Ninth Legion was brutally killed by a monster! Ooh! And she runs away with the soldier of the Ninth Legion, and the soldier is killed by the monster, and Bill finds the rest of the survivors of the Ninth Legion, and at the same time, the Doctor and Nardole are making friends with the Picts, and the Picts show the Doctor the gate where the monster comes out of, and the Doctor learns that every few years a Pict sacrifices him or herself to close the gate, and it has to do with the time distortion field, and so Bill brings the rest of the Ninth Legion back to through some underground tunnels, and they find the Picts, and they realize that thanks to the Doctor and the TARDIS's telepathy field, they can understand each other, and can't we all just get along? And they say, okay. And the Doctor says, I know what I must do. I must sacrifice myself to save the world. And Bill says, that's a stupid idea. Let them sacrifice themselves. And the Doctor says, I don't think I like that. Oh, yeah, well, too bad. And the Ninth Legion and the Pict girl go into the gate and stop the evil sunlight monster from destroying everything, and everything is good. And the crows can talk. Oh, by the way, and we find out that the crows, every time they say "caw caw," they're saying the name of the young Pict girl who saved the world. And Nardo's like, can we go home now? And they go back to the TARDIS, and Missy is there, and Nardo is very upset, and Bill is not too happy about this, but the Doctor says, oh, this is all part of my plan to rehabilitate Missy, I guess. And Missy cries. The end.
Okay. I was a couple seconds short on stopping that, but you more or less Managed to hit that at 5 minutes flat.
Oh wow.
Ah, cool.
Okay.
Bing.
Huh.
Like, I think it was probably more closer to 4:59, but very close.
As long as he made it to the top of the mountain without falling over.
Yep.
Hooray!
Yay.
All right, so let's go into our likes and dislikes. And checking my list, I see that I believe stupid thing actually come up in the right thing instead of scrolling all over the place. Aaron is first.
Sweet. So overall, I like kind of the more serious tone that we got with the story, as opposed to the more campy kind of goofy villainous and tone that we got with The Girl Who Lived, especially when it came to like the villain / thing that they were fighting. And I thought that the way that the Picts and the Romans were depicted was a little bit more realistic too here. Add a little bit more depth to them. We learned a little bit more about their culture and everything. Whereas with the Vikings, they didn't really seem to do much in the other stories.
Their characters in that one were more caricatures.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying this one doesn't have a climax worthy of Yakety Sax?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Thomas.
I generally liked the whole premise of this. The moment that gets this all started is just that the doctor, like Bill, claiming to know more about something than the doctor, so the doctor takes her to this time period to prove her wrong. Just that entire concept of like that's the way this episode is happening is pretty funny.
They've actually done that a couple times this season, and it works well for them every time, I think. It gives them a better reason to be there.
All right. Bill?
I like the banter between the Doctor and Nardole this episode. I'm not sure of any particular thing, but it was just funny. Like, it didn't seem over the top, but it seemed just more kind of on point.
Okay. Tim?
I really liked the outdoor photography in this episode and the scenery.
Well, you can't really beat the Highlands of Scotland
I was
for.
going to say that they for sure film this on location because that would probably help.
All right, Matt?
The period costuming, like we've seen some good versions of period costuming for both of these groups before. I've never seen it quite this good. This is really, really nice detail. Like
Yeah,
no one person looked exactly the same, even the Roman soldiers.
Yes, I agree with Matt on that. I really did like the costuming, the depiction of both the Picts and the Romans. I thought was really good. As for what I liked, I was going to say what Matt said, but instead I'm going to say I just like Nardole in general this episode.
Nardole was really good. The fact that he made friends with the Picts so quickly in 2 days, to the point that he has face makeup.
It's like every scene he was in was at least a smiley scene to me. Almost.
He was generally amusing, and he didn't hold back from telling the doctor off when he felt like he needed to.
His banter with the doctor, his banter with Bill, his general chit-chattiness, I just liked most of it.
He was also very Arthur Dent at the very beginning, like we were predicting, because he just wanted to go back to sleep.
Yes. Wandering around the Scottish countryside in his bathrobe.
And come to think of it, I could picture Arthur Dent doing the whole, so why are we here again? Oh, to prove you right. That's a good reason.
All right, so what didn't we like about the episode? Aaron?
What we didn't like, let me see here. I'm probably going to steal someone's, but I do think the threat just was not very well placed. Like, I didn't like the monster. It wasn't very well explained. It was just overall vague, and it really. I get that they were trying to put like a supernatural or an alien creature in an ancient setting, but it really kind of felt out of place, which is weird because Doctor Who has done this so many times where they put like a science fiction like twist on an ancient society and stuff, and they've made it work before, and this one just didn't work.
I do agree with you on that. I would have kind of felt it would have been great if it had been ancient Celtic meets kind of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have been like, you've opened a portal to one of the ancient ones, which is actually part of Doctor Who lore.
Actually that is true, isn't it?
Or even like if it was a fire-breathing monster, it would have been the start of like some,
ancient dragon myths, yeah.
Some British like location mythology.
But
they could have really tied it up with something that was really either edutainment or something like that. Because the show itself, this episode felt very edutational.
Yeah, and they didn't really do a great job of explaining what the monster was, where did it come from. There was none of that.
That's true. Like when they were talking about eating the sun, I was like, so does this mean like absorbing all the light that reaches Earth from the sun? Or that he's literally going to reach out with his tentacles and consume the sun from, millions of miles away?
Are they supposed to be implying that because this creature is eating so much light that's what led to like the mini ice age we saw in the earlier episode?
Yeah, we just don't know.
It doesn't seem ethereal enough, but it seems to be ethereal enough when it's in that portal to possibly be able to fly. So
I don't think it would be
can it not? We don't know.
That was hundreds of years later, but
it just
there's not enough details on that. The creature needs more detail. Yeah, Thomas.
Honestly, I basically just have to go with what Aaron said because I can't really think of much else. But yeah, it just felt like too Monster of the Week, but in a bad way. Like sometimes a Monster of the Week can work, but this is one of those times where it's like it just didn't.
It really feels like this was one of those cases again, where if you had a good script editor, and my of course eternal bitch is that Moffat is no script editor, this would have been read it and it's like go back and explain this more. We need some exposition.
Yeah.
But instead, he just looked at it and went, okay.
Instead, the script editor said, you know what this needs? More Missy.
Yeah. All right, Bill, how about you? What didn't you like?
This, I can't take credit for this complaint, but ever since I saw it, it's been stuck in my head, and I can't get rid of it. And that's that the entire premise, of the monster being unleashed to defeat an invading army is something that in other settings and in other stories would be something the Doctor would definitely do and be in favor of doing and then be the one trying to fix it when it backfires. But this isn't really acknowledged either in a moral or an outright way, in the sense that he just acts like, oh, that was a dumb idea. But it's the type of dumb idea he would be in favor of, and he doesn't seem to, the story doesn't in any way seem to recognize or acknowledge that.
Well, mind you, when the Doctor tends to do that kind of thing and let the genie out of the bottle, he's usually also coming up with a plan to stuff it back in.
As quickly as possible in case it backfires, yes. Usually he's plans within plans, if he's the one
And
with the
sure,
Although her plan was that the Romans would cripple it.
Yeah,
not the greatest plan.
That's not a great plan.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he couldn't fly, too, is that maybe the Romans did slightly cripple it.
Yeah, the idea is that it's apparently on its last legs.
And even on its last legs, a lot of people were still falling to it.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, how about you? What did you not like about this episode?
I really didn't like the dynamic between the Doctor and Carr. Sort of those moments when he was trying to shame her for her actions. That struck me as a bit cruel. Just for my taste.
I think he was trying to basically try to relay the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
Not that we were able to fully grasp the gravity of the situation ourselves because the monster was so
Vague.
poorly explained.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, Matt.
Here's my beef. I'm a visual person, and this is actually one that I've had since the beginning. I'm happy no one took it. Oh my god. So, in this episode, when we get close-ups of the monster, when we don't see the full monster, when we see little tidbits of it, it looks effective. But when we finally see a medium range where we can see the full monster effect, and it looks terrible, absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
Even for something as simple as that, what they either needed to do is if they're going to stick with CG, they needed to keep to the close corners and not show too much and hide the flaws, because there's some obvious flaws here, or they really need to put the extra buck and get some sort of like animatronic and maybe reuse the monster again another season if they had the chance to. One of the two.
Yeah, especially because
it's a fault of direction for the digital effects guys essentially, and the monster just does not work on screen when it's full body and in bright light.
Yeah, like especially if it's something that absorbs light and is based on darkness, then it being almost
being in the room should almost
shadow.
It being in the room should almost melt
sense.
shadows around it and make it better to hide any flaws.
Yeah.
But that's even then that's another visual cue that's ruined by this creature, and it should be a more effective creature that way. So yeah, there's just some flaws with the visuals on this thing that could have been easily fixed if they would have thought about it.
Okay, I'm going to take what Matt said and spread it out. I didn't like the special effects in this episode in general. Both the practical and the CG effects bothered the hell out of me. And
what
one that I know
effects?
both Matt and I were arguing about this earlier, but there's this scene where you get the doctor going to where this portal comes and you see the wall open up. And that was the cheesiest thing that it actually took me
I
out
didn't
of
mind
the
that
episode.
cheese. That's my problem. That's my take, and Randy twitches.
The wall opening was far too smooth. There was no dust, which bothered me.
Well, there was
And the
dust
fact
before.
that you have this complex wall opening mechanism on a
the wall mechanism itself, that bothers me a little bit.
built by picks.
Yeah.
What I would have preferred if the portal just kind of appeared wavy over where the wall was.
Yes, that would actually
Because
be
that
better.
would have made sense. But the fact that you had this wall opening bothered me. I did not like the monster. And for what they had, the wall opening without any dust or rumbly feeling was too smooth.
It was a little rumbly at first, but when it actually opened, there might have been not enough rumble to it.
Yeah, it reminded me of Legends of the Hidden Temple, which I don't know if any of you know was a game show on Nickelodeon.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Silver Monkey.
It
Silver Monkey,
felt
actually,
exactly
yeah.
like that to me. It bothered the crap out of me.
There's actually been off and on rumors of bringing that show back, by the way.
I think they were planning to make a
They
movie
did a
of
TV.
it.
They did.
Oh.
They did.
Oh.
They made a TV movie.
Oh.
Was it any good?
I
Probably
have not
not.
actually seen it. I've seen a trailer, and
Actually, they might be still making it then. I don't
doesn't
think
look
they
any
actually
good.
made it yet. But they kept the voice actor guy
There is
from...
there is a
the-
trailer out. I know that much.
Yeah, there's a trailer.
That's.
Anyway,
Bill's going to look it
It
up.
came out in 2016, apparently.
Oh. I need to find that
there you
then.
go.
I wonder if it's on Netflix.
Aaron, your favorite scene?
My favorite scene. I actually really enjoyed the popcorn scene because it's a part.
Ow, damn it.
I love going first. I get to steal everybody else's stuff.
You only got it because the dice gods liked you tonight. They were fond of rolling twos.
Yeah, I liked it because I think, as one of the media outlets said, it was it was one of the anachronistic ways of introducing kind of a modern concept to an ancient people. And you don't really think of popcorn as being modern. It's something that we all grew up eating. It's something that, our parents and grandparents have grown up eating, and yet
If you go
this
back
is
centuries.
like hundreds of years in the past. Yeah, you go back hundreds of years in the past, and no one in this part of the world knew what popcorn was at all.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't
as
even
soon as
know
it goes
what
off.
corn was. It was a North American thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. To add to that, just since I've got to pick something else now, I'm going to throw in the reason I like that so much was because he's like, let me explain, and then the popcorn goes up, and then he runs off, and like that basically sums up the Doctor trying to lack of explanation for anything this entire series.
The thing
Well,
is,
the popcorn was also an explanation for what he said before, because what he said right before is, what, you three are going to get scared out of your skins, and I'm going to use the distraction and run away.
And now here, let me explain.
Let me
Pow, pow,
explain.
pow, pow,
Pop,
pow.
pop. Distraction, run away.
yeah, the thing is, I could see Tom Baker doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what it reminded me of. Nardole sitting there munching and offering them popcorn was just like, do you want a jelly baby?
Mm-hmm.
It's in the,
Just
it's in the
about.
same. It's in the same color of paper bag.
Because that's bulk production bags, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the Doctor was the one being like, what the hell are you doing?
I could
Offering
You
these
don't offer
people
it to them like a
popcorn.
better plan.
And I could perfectly imagine a Pict being like, shut up. And he'd be like, well, you didn't have to be rude.
So, Thomas, now that that one's taken, what's your favorite scene?
I'm kind of like torn on
Don't
one
take
scene
mine.
whether it's my favorite or whether it's actually my least favorite. So, God, let's see. Honestly, you know what? I'm just gonna go with what I mentioned as being my like a more specific version of what I said was my favorite aspect of the episode, which was the premise. So my favorite scene was just, so what are we even doing here? Oh, she says she knows more than about the Ninth Legion than me. It's like, yeah, that seems about right. Because you need to stroke your ego.
All right. Bill?
So, in my head, and then it just flew out my ear. Okay, Bill's speech about fear, because I am a sucker for those moments when you can see, what the companions learned and how they've evolved from being with the Doctor, and that was entirely a Doctor-style speech.
And also, you and
that
Randy
Bill
are speech whores. It's true. The both of
We
you
love
love a Doctor Who speech.
Yes, we do. Well, especially me. I'm a big epic speech.
Yeah, usually if the Doctor has an epic speech, I'll specifically leave it for Randy.
All right. Tim?
We're talking about least favorite scenes.
Talking about favorite scenes, not least favorite. That's
Oh, favorite scenes.
Tim's ready to go home. He's like, I'm done with this episode. We're at the end.
I'm sorry, I got spaced out for a bit. Well, my favorite scene was already taken, so I'm going to go with my second favorite scene. And that's a scene where Bill comes out to the Roman Legion, and she's very apprehensive of it, and then they're all like, they're cool with it. It's like,
You're just like him over there, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's kind of restrictive. I like everybody.
Right.
Which is actually not untrue of the Romans.
Yeah, it was more true of the Greeks, but
More true of the Greeks, but the Romans did it too.
It really only you got repressive sexuality when you got the Catholic Church. Dun dun dun.
Hi there, little Timmy.
The funny thing is that was the scene that I was going to mention before, so I actually did not steal that from it.
Okay.
All
Matt?
right. My favorite scene. Okay, where the special effects actually freaking worked magically, which I actually included in our opening, is when you see the creature coming up the hill. Those were really good. Low light, close up, and even if you're going to have it far back, have it in the dark so you don't see too much, but you see enough to realize it's this weird, menacing dog creature with tentacles and stuff. And it's like, that's kind of almost horrific. Yes, go with more of that.
All right. So my favorite scene is when the Doctor comes out from after being stuck in there for 2 days, and he comes out and Nardole's just sitting there telling the Picts stories.
Yeah, which story was that?
I honestly can't remember, but I recognize some of what it was.
Yeah, I remember.
He was going to tell them about the Lusitania.
The Lusitania, yeah.
Yeah, he said that was next time.
Mm-hmm.
Since no one brought it up, and it just occurred to me after I said what I said, Bill figuring out how the TARDIS translates on her own without having it explained to her.
Yes.
Or the Doctor even present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she brings it up to the Doctor, and he's like, bingo.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, thank God! So I don't have to explain this to someone for once.
Bill is a good geek.
Mm-hmm.
Good geek, Bill. Good geek. You got it.
Okay, so let's go to least favorite scene. And Aaron, you're up first.
Okay, let me see here. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, Bill falling down a hole.
Yeah,
Yet
second episode in
again.
a row.
I mean, it's just because it's just what she falls down holes a lot.
Is this her meme now? She's the hole
You
fighter.
learn to walk around looking down.
Yeah, no, it's just like, come on, guys. Find some other way of her getting. How about she purposely goes down into the hole thinking she could, survive in there?
Yeah, how about she
Yeah,
just finds
right,
it one
maybe
foot?
Maybe that's
looks-
what they're building to.
Yeah, maybe she finds it
maybe
with
next
one
episode.
foot, and then looks up and this goes perfect, and then quickly hides in there, and then finds
It's
the
becoming-
Roman.
Maybe in the
new
next
sprained
episode
ankle.
she'll jump into a vent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very much Susan springing her ankle esque.
Mm-hmm. All right, Thomas, how about you? Least favorite scene?
Honestly, I'd say the climax because of the whole the drama of it didn't really feel all that.
Drama.
It was like then it was none. Yeah, it was like, oh no, we have to do this. You can't. Like the Doctor just like, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll do it. It's like no urgency, whatever. It's like yeah, I'll do it. And they're all like, no, we have to do it. We have to do it. And they smack him over the head, and it's like, okay, what?
There's only
Like,
one.
it
There's
just
only
felt
one
really
reason I
weird.
like that scene, and that's the epic Celtic music.
Yeah. Also, there was a bit of the feels between Car and her brother, I think it was.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a feels moment there for a little bit, but the rest of it was almost as soon as someone else spoke up, it's like, oh, yeah, back to this.
Let's see.
All right, Bill,
And the
how
doc-
about you? Your least favorite scene?
So, it's not the whole scene, but it's a specific moment, and it's because of something that they don't do, but that they really should have. The scene where there's the whole you're talking Latin right now, and then Bill goes off and she's theorizing and hypothesizing, trying to explain it, and he doesn't say, and now you're talking Greek. And that would have worked on multiple levels because that's what the average non-geek that speaks English would have said. And I'm pretty sure the roots of 90% of the words she said during that sequence were Greek. And the Roman probably would have recognized that.
Except, of course, the fact that the TARDIS was translating it into Latin.
Yeah.
What I would have loved to have it say is if she tried to speak something in Latin. And then it's like, no, that's Greek to me.
That would have been Fires of Pompeii all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, except without the Doctor there going, no, don't do that. This time somebody gets to do that and it happens.
Of course, that's a funny thing. Didn't she? When Donna said that, it came out as like Celtic or something instead, didn't it?
Yes, well, yeah, because they were saying that the Romans understood Welsh to be Celtic or whatever, something like that.
Mm.
Okay, so Tim, how about you? What was your least favorite scene?
Least favorite scene was probably just the scene at the beginning with the two kids that really didn't add
Waste of
all
time.
that much.
Yeah, it was kind of not necessary.
was
It
fluff.
tied into like 1.5 lines of dialogue at the end.
Yeah, it would
Mm.
have been better if they'd had the Romans at camp And if they were looking for something to help with an pre-bump sequence, having the Legion at camp and then just having something in the darkness just start stealing them away, and they turn around and scream and
panic ensues, and then we did a close up on someone screaming as we go to the opening.
And that would have been a proper lead-in, but the whole thing with the kids 1,000 years later, no, they don't need that.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Yeah. They could have even just done the argument that we get, like, at the start of the episode, where just Bill being like, I know more about this.
They love a pre-bump tension moment.
The one way I really would have liked that scene was, and this would probably only work if this were being a two-parter, or if this were like a sequel episode, is if that scene was being used to say, hey, they've fulfilled their part, but now their time has passed, and now the monster is coming out. And, that's what it was a reveal for, was that something weird was going on. And then we were flashing back to the explanation of what the weird thing was before going back to the modern day, but not for a single parter.
Oh, yeah. Actually, what would have been great is if you had some of the older members talking to these people and telling them stories, Oh, you weren't here when, this happened. You weren't here the time we were down, south by the monument, and there were aliens with, there were these things in the sky with lights, and kind of referencing vaguely the Pandorica opens.
Yeah.
And then as they're speaking, just having this thing come behind, all the younger members look freaked out and start running, and then he turns around and gets eaten, essentially. Something like that would have happened. All right, who are we on? Was that Tim's?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt, your least favorite scene.
Yeah. So my least favorite scene follows right after my favorite scene. My favorite scene being the really good effects. Right afterwards, we get a whole bunch of silly laser beams and a really fakey looking CGI monster snarling at us.
Yeah.
Until the sun rose.
So the whole thing with the freaky laser beam stuff was the fact that they were supposed to corrupt the light somehow.
Supposedly.
We never really got a reason why.
We never got a solid reason why, and we don't have any. And because of that, we don't understand why this is turned into silly, stupid laser beams. And so everything around that scene in particular just kind of falls flat on its face until after we get to past getting the monster back into the portal, and then we get some feels slightly for a moment, and then we just have people march off into nice music.
So my least favorite scene, as you can tell, was the one where he walks in there, and then the light shines on it.
Oh gosh, I'm looking at the still image of it now. It really looks bad.
What, yours?
The door opening, yeah, that looks like something they cut out of foam.
Yeah. Okay. So now that you see it, you agree with me.
There's a little bit of dust and debris, which is nice, but the door itself looks almost like it's made out of foam. Yeah, this looks silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it looked Legends of the Hidden Temple. The difference, Matt,
Can you send us the
might
link?
be the difference, Matt, might be the fact that when I watched this on a 65-inch television.
That could be a possibility. Yeah, it probably might have been higher definition.
Whereas I
than
watched
what
this
I
on
got.
a 10-inch monitor.
So I see this, in full HD, all the glorious detail, and I looked at that freaking door and I went, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I
It's
zoomed in.
freaking-
I zoomed in a little bit,
Hidden
and you look at the
Temple.
edges of that door, it's just like, oh my god, this is cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things like, hey, you can blatantly tell this is an interactable door in a video game where it just doesn't fit in
Just
with
about.
everything else.
If this was
One
Legend
of
of
these
Zelda, it would have a
things is
crack
not
on it.
like the others.
Hey, anybody have a cherry bomb? This is clearly a door I need to break open.
Like I said, this is clearly a wall with a crack on it in Legend of Zelda.
Let's try cracking it with a whip.
Dun, dun.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Oh, look, the
That's
beef.
what we should have done for the opening bump, Matt.
The door opening, then you get Castlevania music.
Yeah, the Zelda.
I was thinking more Castlevania, but
Yeah, I said the whip.
Yeah, no, I was thinking Zelda, where you open that kind of thing, and it's you get the magic Zelda music.
I still like my opening
or you
bump. It's two
just have-
references in one.
If you have a clip of Link running up to a crack in the wall, leave a bomb, and then it cuts to that scene of the door opening.
Just while underworld music plays in the background. Preferably the original 80s. Yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, so we all agree now that scene was cheesy as hell.
I didn't disagree it was cheesy, but now I'm looking at still image, it looks even worse.
Yep. Yeah, it looked out of place, and the more I saw it, the more out of place.
The Doctor is going to warp to level 9.
Fucking warp. Yeah, freaking warp zone. All right. So, final thoughts. And I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I believe Aaron is up first.
All right. So yeah, this isn't the most exciting episode, mostly because just the monster kind of tanks it really for me. They could have done so much, and they got most of it right. Like they got the mundane aspects of the Earth, and the people living on it right, and they've also gotten the Doctor and Nardole and Bill as the fish out of water. Their characters are represented here fairly accurately and pretty well done. But the monster itself, and you can't really have a good story if you don't have a very good villain or a very good, conflict for the characters to engage in. And this just wasn't one of them. So, I don't know if you should really skip it, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be something that you have to watch if you don't want to. So that's my idea.
As far as my opinion on this goes, it's a middle of the road episode. It's not necessarily entirely terrible, but it's just pretty average. And ultimately, I'll put it this way: I've seen it twice, and I still couldn't volunteer for the 5-minute challenge because I would not have remembered half the stuff that happened already, and I watched it twice this morning. So that's what that tells you.
So for some people, it just doesn't stick.
Yeah.
I believe it's Bill.
Is it?
Yes,
Bill, Tim, then me.
So it's I would say this is a decent filler episode. It's really an episode that could have been done with pretty much any Doctor. It might have been a struggle with the first, but after that, I think really any Doctor could have pulled it off more or less the same way. There are definitely fun moments, some cheesy moments. I don't think there was I don't think there were any moments that were outright terrible. The worst was, a slight cringe. But altogether, probably fairly middle of the road.
All right.
Tim.
I thought this episode strength was in the characterizations of the supporting characters and the dynamics between the Picts and the Romans. The monster was kind of standard, but not too terrible. But the big most important thing was the development of Bill and her understanding of who the Doctor is, and the Doctor and his understanding of who Bill is. So those are my 2 cents.
All right. Matt?
I agree with a bit with Tim. The background characters got a lot better development in this one. Also, I would say that the foreground characters, our main ones, the Doctor, Nardole, and Bill, all did excellent jobs in this one. Stole the show a lot like they're supposed to as main characters. The monster needed a little more fleshing out, and the people who are directing the scenes with the monster need to learn how to direct Horror 101 with a big giant monster. If you're not going to throw some extra money into it, you need to shoot it with your budgetary constraints and hide some of the flaws. Key on that one. Otherwise, it was a decent, but I guess possibly forgettable, depending upon the person, episode.
Okay. So, The first thing is the fact that Rora Monroe, the lady that wrote this, Rona Monroe, excuse me, is a very good drama writer.
Mm.
She, however, is not a great science fiction writer. In fact, her only other science fiction entry is the Doctor Who episode Survival nearly 30 years ago.
And there are parts of that I don't think were very well.
And that wasn't the greatest episode then.
Yeah.
And this shows, because she gets the drama right, but when she gets into the science fiction, it gets a little weird.
So with a better overhead writer replacing Moffat, you think they could have guided her to make a better episode then?
Possibly, but there are, if everything else is strong, usually you can compensate in part for a weak script.
Mm-hmm.
And this is only half weak. And the acting went off fine on this. However, on top of that weak script, you also have very weak special effects done. And this is the first time I've had complaints for both practical and visual effects in Doctor Who in a while.
Yeah, it has been a first in a while.
And with Charles Palmer, the director, who has done Doctor Who repeatedly before, including historicals. In fact, mostly historicals.
You'd think he'd know how to make a fake wall.
Yes. I mean, this is the same person that did Smith and Jones, Shakespeare Code, Human Nature, Family of Blood, Oxygen.
Yeah, this guy has no excuses.
Yeah.
He knows how to do this better than what he did for this episode.
So, there's no actual, excusing the hokey special effects, which does bring this down from what would have been a good watchable episode into mediocre land. With
what about
writing,
budget?
it would not have... Yeah, I'm wondering if they cut his budget.
Yeah, that could have been what killed it, but then again, there's still ways to get around it even with a low budget. It's called
I guess
Do Your Lighting
This could be the budget light episode.
It's called Do Your Lighting Properly, and then the budget will look like it's better than what it is.
They dropped him off in the Scottish countryside with some old costumes and a bucket of blue paint.
And he just went, oh no, not again.
Well, yeah, if you look at a lot of those ones that we did were actually high-budget episodes. Shakespeare Code was fairly high. Human Nature, Family of Blood were
Two-parter was very high.
Oxygen had a high effects budget. I can't remember Smith and Jones. That was Jadoon on the Moon, so that was fairly high.
Yeah, that was pretty competently done, yes.
So it's just probably he didn't have the budget to do what he needed.
Either they didn't have the budget, or just for some reason they didn't have time to properly direct it.
Anyway,
one of the two is a possibility.
So now because of the combination of the two, it really lowers it into mediocre land.
Mm-hmm.
The ratings. Aaron, you're up first.
I'm going to go ahead, and it's going to be kind of a low ball, but still, not as low as it could be. I'm going to give this a 3.5.
All right. Thomas?
I've been teetering between that or a 3. Given what I have given a 3 before, I think, if anything. I think... Yeah, I'll probably go with 3.
Smile a 3, and you gave Lie of the Land a 3.5.
In which case, I'll probably give this a 3.5.
Okay.
I've also been teetering on the edge, but I think the dialogue was strong enough to go for the 3.5.
All right. Matt?
If you just improve the visuals, it had already been given 4, but no, this is a 3.5.
Tim?
I will give this a 4.
Someone had to break the combo.
Generous 4. And just to bring us down to 3.5 again, I'm going to give it a 3.
Ouch!
Wow, that actually makes this like the lowest scoring of this
season,
series so far.
Actually, yes. Of the series 10, this is now the lowest scoring episode. We liked the trilogy better than this.
We like Yaz's episode.
Ouch!
You like Smile better than this.
Oh yeah, I definitely like Smile better than this. It's just that monster. That monster just so didn't work. They needed to really punch that up a little bit better, and they needed to do the effects better. Even if they would have just done the effects better alone, that could have possibly saved it and brought it up a little bit. But no, they for whatever reason, they just dropped the ball on that one. And
do you think they would have been able to get away with a straight-up historical? Like, have this be the first historical since the first Doctor era?
No.
Like, no
the
science fiction
last
elements?
straight-up historical was Black Orchid in the Fifth
Oh,
Doctor
yeah.
era.
Never mind. Black Orchid.
It says Black Orchid. If they would have dropped the monster and maybe made it like a guy who's actually spooking people and there's maybe caused confusion. No, then wouldn't explain the Legion. They'd have to rewrite the entire story.
Yeah.
They would have to
They
rewrite.
could have just used like an
without the monster.
alien using tech rather than a.
Yeah, but
a
that
monster
wouldn't make it
itself.
a full historical.
Right.
It still wouldn't make it full historical, but it would have been possibly more effective than this monster. Especially if they amped up the horror of the alien wiping out these people.
And this is a good premise, especially if it's reality based, in that there's here's this mystery, let's go solve it, and that's a good premise for a historical. I just don't know what they would have done
I think
if
what-
it would have been
maybe
better.
some kind of disease?
I think story wise, if like we mentioned before, if they would have made it more Cthulhu-esque, make it like Elder Gods-esque, they could have easily explained everything away, and then they could have devoted more time to making the monster look more effective.
Yeah.
Even there, if you did more or the less, things you would do in a Cthulhu horror-esque movie, stuff like Matt was saying, where you never really show the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or if you do, it's just for a second.
You just get like little glimpses, like a close-up of the eye or a close-up of the fangs, the claw reaching out and grabbing somebody. That will be effective. That's good stuff.
If it's Lovecraftian, then seeing the whole thing would drive the audience to madness, and you don't want
The
that
audience,
to happen.
as well as the people there, into madness, and they're barely, and all these people are in such a panic fighting it that they barely see much of it anyway.
Anyway, we're repeating ourselves.
Yeah,
here.
we're repeating ourselves. So what's this? What's the average score there?
with a 3.5, Eaters of Light comes in at number 138 of 204.
Oof. That's the lower
It is-
half.
Yeah, it is the lower half. It is on par with A Town Called Mercy, Mark of the Rani, City of Death, Death Steel, The Time Machine, The Christmas Invasion, Planet of the Dead, Jubilee. It's just above the Five Doctors. And just below Class Detained.
How did the Five Doctors get so low? Anyway.
Because it was overcrowded and the script.
Yeah,
struggled.
it was the writing.
I could forgive the writing for the fact that it was a good trip.
No.
I could forgive the writing a little bit for the fact that it was fun, but
you can't do that when you're a critic.
I can, because that's the kind of critic I am. So
You gave it a 4, Matt, and you were the high B.
Yeah, I
Hey,
really
Tim,
liked
you need to
it
go see
until-
this episode.
I really liked it until I went and rewatched the Five Doctors.
I'm sorry, I still had
It's
fun
kind
with
of
that
cluttered
one.
and confusing.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
kind
it's
of the big
fun.
deal.
It's fun.
It's cluttered and confusing for someone who may have come into it a little bit fresh-faced, but I thought it was just pure fun because
I've been
I have a
anyway.
memory for that stuff. Anyway, yeah, we're rambling.
Doctors.
Bill,
Take us out, Bill.
Okay. So if you enjoy listening to us, please go ahead and like the video so we know how you feel. Put your comments below if you're listening on YouTube. Does Twitch have comments?
they do have chats, and I believe you can leave something on the videos.
Okay. You can also subscribe to us on twitch.tv/Unearthly Podcast and at Unearthly Podcast on YouTube. And you can follow us for news and updates on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Unearthly Podcast and do so there.
All right, so next week we're finally there. The the season finale, if you want. The Series 10 finale. The Misty, Master, Mondasian Cybermen, a ship, and the threshold of the event horizon of a black hole. How is it going to end? Where are we going to get there? We're going to find out next week with World Enough in Time, written by Stephen Moffat and starring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, Matt Lucas as Nardole, Michelle Gomez as Missy, and John Sims returning as the Master. Join us then.
By the way, I think you can get our attention by giving us more views, helping share around for Twitch. That's, I think, the best way you can react to us, other than join us for our live streams. But yep, that's all for tonight. Thank you all for watching. Catch you all later.